my fellow humans, and welcome back to Scatter Love Tarot, with your girl coming at you with another pick a card reading. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I am truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And for anybody that is new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. We do things completely differently on this channel, so please keep that in mind as we move forward. And if the messages happen to resonate with you along the way, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Also, if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything that you need in the description box in order to do so, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member here on the channel. Awesome. With that being said, today we are asking, how do people perceive you? And I am going to be using the Wild Soul Oracle card by Lila Ravenswood. It's been a while since I brought this deck out, so I'm excited to use it again. Felt like this was a fitting deck to use for this reading. With that, let's go ahead and get into your prayer, and we'll get your reading underway and see what comes through. Right. Okay, my beloved source, this prayer is for any and all who come on to this reading, whether it's for a moment's time or for the entire time. I ask that you help remind us that we are okay to be who we are in this moment, that no matter how people may see us, believe us to be, or perceive us, that ultimately at the end of the day, that does not have to play a part in how we choose to show up. That we can remember to stand strong, firm, and stable within our own energy and within our own centered space. That through that, we can let our light shine as the unique individual light that it's meant to be. And that truly, there's so many people out here who are trying to fit in and be the same as everyone else, when that was never the design. The design was for us to find our truth and to speak our truth and to express that truth as the unique possibility that arises within us. Sometimes it's hard. Society tells us we must belong, and you're asking us to not belong, but to be. Sometimes this conundrum, it leaves us feeling less than and misaligned because we're resistant to that change. So today I ask that you help us open our hearts to receive this change and this truth, that we never need be someone we are not, and that there are people somewhere who accept us fully as we are in this here now here moment. But first, we must take the journey to accept, love, appreciate, and radically forgive ourselves, so that we can invite individuals who will do the same. As these words are spoken onto this reading and upon this tribe, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Ase. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. Okay, let me get this over here. There we go. Okay, let's souffle and see what comes through for you. Alright, source, what Wild Soul Oracle card will help us better understand how my fellow humans are perceived? How do people perceive my fellow humans? Whoa, sliding in, the beluga wanting to be seen. Communication. They see you as a leader. They see you as someone who's capable of inspiring the masses or just inspiring communities. Alright, Source, what wild unknown oracle card will help us better understand how my fellow humans are perceived? How do people perceive my fellow humans, Source? Okay, thank you. How do people perceive my fellow humans? Okay, for pile number 1, Source, what wild soul oracle card will help us better understand how people perceive pile number 1? Thank you. For pile number 2, Source, what wild soul oracle card will help us better understand how people perceive pile number 2? How do people perceive pile number 2? How do people perceive pile number 2, Source? Thank you. Alright, for pile number 3, Source, what wild oracle card? Wilds, I can talk today, I promise you. Communication, right, coming in. I feel like sometimes you might trip up over your words, or you make people trip up over their own words, and you might feel like it's you that's tripping up over your words. And this could be specific to pile 3, but it's been since pile 1, so I feel like this is part of the collective message. So for pile number 3, Source, what wild soul oracle card is going to help us better understand how people perceive pile number 3? How do people perceive pile number 3, Source? That's the one. Thank you. Alright, on the bottom of the deck, we've got the coral with foundation. People perceive you to be very stable, secure, capable, and disciplined. They see you as someone who is always shifting your focus to ensure that you're taken care of and that you're building abundance for yourself. And that could be abundance financially, that could be abundance spiritually, that could be abundance, just whatever abundance means to you. People perceive you as someone who is very grounded, the king or the queen of your realm. And they recognize that you're incredibly powerful and you have this amazing presence that you bring with you. You command respect, you command attention, you command respect of people who wouldn't normally respect you, right? People who would normally just be disrespectful, but some part of your energy is commanding that respect and that acknowledgement too, that I can't pull one over on this collective at all, right? And they can't. Why? Because you've done the healing, you've done the work, you've been on the journey, and you've let go of so much stuff that was weighing you down. And you're very much in control of your emotions. And not only do you have emotional intelligence, you have spiritual intelligence, and you are intelligent. And this makes you a trifecta of danger in this world in the utmost positive way, right? How can danger be positive? Well, it's you. All right, so let's see what this says from the book. The coral. Also, I feel like wise, like beyond your years, right? Coral doesn't necessarily grow overnight. Like you think of the Great Barrier Reef and stuff. That's taken a long time to become what it is. So this really feels like you have this essence of an old soul coming through, and people look at you as wise beyond your years. You've learned valuable lessons that many people haven't learned until possibly too late, or they're still haven't learned that, and here you are, you figured these things out. It says coral symbolizes foundation, patience, and community. Just as coral reefs grow slowly, creating vibrant ecosystems, this card encourages you to focus on building a strong, lasting foundation in your life. Whether it's relationships, work, or personal growth, solid groundwork is essential for future success. Focus on creating a stable foundation in your life. Patience and steady effort will lead to long-term success. Your foundation may be unstable or neglected. Consider strengthening key areas before moving forward. That's the reversal of this card. It says, questions to ponder. How can I strengthen my foundation? Am I neglecting important aspects of my life? And what steps can I take to build lasting stability? And this is interesting too, because didn't I say when the Beluga card came out, it was about communication, but communication to help inspire communities. I'm pretty sure I said that. And I also was talking about to inspire people, right? To you're able to influence people around you. Let's check out the Beluga card since it came out. I feel like for me bringing it back up, it wants to be seen. Beluga. Communication. The Beluga is known for its vocal nature and strong social bonds, symbolizing the power of communication and connection. These whales use a wide range of sounds to express themselves, reminding you to speak clearly and openly with those around you. This card encourages you to strengthen your communication and build deeper connections through honest expression. Focus on clear, honest communication. Open dialogue will enhance your relationships and bring clarity. So the reverse is your communication may be unclear or misunderstood. Reflect on whether you're holding back or not expressing your true thoughts. Questions are, how can I improve my communication? Am I being honest and clear in my expressions? And what can I do to strengthen my connections through communication? Yeah, and it's interesting, this is the black and white version of it, but you have the moon and the sun here, right? And so it's that blending of opposites, that ability to blend opposites within your world. It's also on page number 33. So your angels are helping you to enhance your communication skills, whether that's through some courses that you're taking or just being able to be clear about what it is that you're saying, or also just not giving in when people are trying to push your buttons, maybe just standing up for yourself and being very clear that this is not something that I am willing to sit by and take just because you expect me to, right? Okay, so we're in frame, we're good. For pile number 1, we do have this beautiful piece of blue apatite for you to choose from. Okay, we have this dice with the 11th house. For pile number 2, we have this piece of clear quartz for you to choose from. We have this dice with the 12th house on it. For pile number 3, we have this piece of blue agate. Or we have this dice with the 1st house on it. We have pile 1, pile 2, and pile number 3. Whichever pile you feel called to, that should be the pile for you. And with that, I will see you over on your chosen pile. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of blue agate, or if you were drawn to this dice with the 11th house, Or if you're drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be your reading on how do people perceive you. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I am truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And for anybody new here, this is a reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. We do things completely differently on this channel, so keep that in mind moving forward. And should the messages resonate with you along the way, it would truly mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe down below. So with that being said, let's hop to your reading and find out. Source, how do people perceive pile number 1? How do people perceive pile number 1? What would you like to share with us today, Source? How do people perceive pile number 1? The table's a little extra shaky today. Let me see if I can fix that a little. Give it a little bit more stability. Living in an RV, it's just the way things are. Sometimes they're shaky, sometimes they're stable, and sometimes we're just along for the ride. So we've got the 6th house, we've got Capricorn energy, and we've got the North Node. How do people perceive you? Perceive you as doing exactly whatever it is that you are meant to be doing. Whatever you are spending your time, your energy on, people perceive that as you doing exactly what you were made to do. You are very powerful. You have this very powerful force about you. You're incredibly disciplined. You are incredibly determined. You're decisive. You're confident. You're courageous. You're always setting out and doing what matters to you. Very solid routines. This feels like people, when they compare themselves to you, because it feels like it happens rather often, they cannot keep up with you. But I do feel like many people have tried. They've tried to stick up and do things the way that you do them, but you've just found that way that works so good for you that you are able to get into a state of flow, right? And when you get into that state of flow, you can almost manipulate time, which is a thing. Time manipulation is a thing, but many people don't see it that way because they don't feel like they have enough time. But for you, you don't see it that way. You see it as time is mine to command. And so people see you doing the work of like 7 people in one day, and they don't understand how. But it has to do with the way you've set up your routine. You're very strict with how you follow certain things, and you've come into this understanding of that's life, right? That's what old people say. Oh my gosh, yeah. So you've realized that without routine, what is there, right? Without plan, there is no success. But if you don't plan to succeed, then you plan to fail, right? What is that? Or if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? That's what it feels like here. So you've set a plan and you're like, okay, this is what I need to do here, and this is what I need to do here. And so when people see you, they perceive you as someone who's an incredibly hard worker. They perceive you as someone who's doing everything that you're meant to be doing in this world, and they see you as capable of creating a goal and following through on that based on your daily routines. You're taking care of your health, you're taking care of your spirit, you're taking care of your well-being, emotional and otherwise. You being at your prime is what matters most, and that's how they perceive you, is that you want to be in the best possible condition so that you can show up for all the things that you want to experience, and you're not going to show up for the things you don't want to experience. So I do feel like there are people here who feel that bite. You know, when you get into a state of flow and you're doing so well and you're able to pump things out simply, but it's not simply, it's just from years of work and years of consistency, right? But when you're pumping things out like that, people feel that bite, they feel that harshness because they don't feel like they'll ever get to that point. But on the other side, they're also not willing to ask what it is that it took for you to get to where you're at. And so what they're perceiving is that you've been given a gift to somehow have all the energy and strength to do what you need. And yet at the end of the day, what I see is that you have found a way to get into a state of alignment for yourself. So people perceive you as someone who's very hardworking. They also might see you as an authority figure, and that you have overcome various blocks on your journey. You're no longer worried about things that once were worrying you. Okay, let's get the cards out and see what comes through. I feel like today I'm going to use the Wild Unknown Tarot. Kind of been called to this deck recently, so definitely recommend it if you collect cards. I definitely recommend adding this to your collection. It's just a great deck to have. Alright, Source. How do people perceive pile number 1? What would you like to share with us today? How do people perceive pile number 1? Caring, very attractive, very kind, like you're getting help from the divine. You are favored, confident, courageous, committed, consistent, focused. You have laser-like focus. How do people perceive pile number 1, Source? What would you like to share with us? Okay. Okay. How do people perceive pile number 1, Source? Whoa. Father of Cups, emotionally sound. You might benefit if you didn't check out the collective reading at the beginning. You might benefit from the messages that were in there as well. And we have the Emperor. I'm sorry, the Six of Cups. This is also the image on the Emperor card, so that's why I was like, oh, the Emperor. But again, that energy, very fatherly, very authority-like figure. You are commanding your reality. You're commanding the situation with the Six of Cups here. We see that you're ready and willing to share with those you care about. But you're also building very strong allies with certain people, and those are the people that you're sharing your time, your energy, and your effort with, right? These are roots that dig deep. This is not something that's superficial, and so people perceive you as someone that's not willing to build a superficial relationship. You would rather go in deep and have that deep connection, especially with the Father of Cups here. But many people aren't willing to do that with you. And so it's very easy for you to move on from certain individuals, whereas other people don't really necessarily understand how that's possible. Like, how can you just give up on people like that? How can you just walk away from friends like that? And it's just because you are knowing and intuitive that this is someone who's always going to keep things surface level, and it's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my energy, and it's a waste of my effort. If someone cannot open their heart to me, why do I need to continue to stand on this journey or this road with them? Especially when there are other people out there who would rather give their time, energy, and effort to me 100% the same way I'm going to for them. Your loyalty is fierce, but it comes with a cost. It comes with the cost of authenticity of the other person. And that's what people perceive you as. And many people are not willing to be authentic. They're so used to wearing the masks. They're so used to living by society standards that to step into the freedom of authenticity is taking away a structure and a foundation from them that they're willing to bet their life on right now. But for you, you broke away that foundation maybe very early on, or maybe it's something that you've been consciously getting rid of as you're moving forward. And through that, you have grown exponentially into this powerhouse. And so people perceive you as someone who's very emotionally sound, but also someone who wants to have very stable relationships with others. A ton of cup cards. We've got the 10 of Cups coming out, and we have the Daughter of Wands. You're an inspiration to many people. They perceive you as someone they can admire, someone they can look up to, someone that is worth listening to, and someone that has found fulfillment, happiness. They see you as a leader. Again, the 10 of Cups in the Tarot Marseille talks about leadership. You know, in the Tarot Marseille, there's a big cup at the top, and then you have the 9 cups stacked underneath it in the pith card. And what that's showing is that the 1 cup on top is so full, it's tipped over and it's continuing to fill itself, but it's showing the other 9 cups how to find their own fulfillment. Here you have this very symbolic energy with all these lines. You have this cup attached to all these cups, right? These are attached to all of these cups. So each one of these cups is attached to each one of these cups. There is no separation, but there is this equal give and take, a vibration that is falling along those lines, and this resonance that's coming through. And there's many people here who perceive you as someone who's incredibly who's incredibly deep, who has a profound sense of self, and is incredibly aware of who they are, all the while giving constant inspiration to others and clearing out blockages and barriers that have kept you from being who you are. Now you're using that as fuel to turn your life around into what it is that you want. You see the snake here in the infinity symbol, or what you know as 8. And 8 for me is a number of facing karma, but it's also the number of gaining abundance, right? And so if we look at the infinity symbol, it literally is what goes around comes around, and it's telling here that it's represented by a snake here, which is giving me Ouroboros energy, which is the the snake that's constantly eating itself, right? It's constantly consuming itself. It's constantly devouring itself, more like getting in tune with a Fibonacci sequence, this unfurling of self. But when you constantly are consuming yourself, you're digging deep into the layers of self that you didn't know existed. So through that, yes, you're facing your karma, whatever that might be. And I use the quotations here because we kind of have a weird identity towards karma. But this is you letting go of past beliefs, of past ideas, and of intergenerational curses that may have been guiding your life, and all the while filling it now with something that is more suited to your journey. And so how people perceive you is as someone who isn't afraid to face the darkness, or who isn't afraid to do the hard work, right? Especially when it comes to the emotional state. There's so many people who don't want to do this work. They're like willing to do the journey as long as they can forego the emotional side of things, but that's the only part of the journey that's really going to help catapult us to the next level. And what people see you as is, we have the black swan here, as the black sheep or the black swan. You're a rarity among individuals, and so they perceive you as this person that they could absolutely fall in line with, and you could lead them to a promised land that they know they could also create in their life if they grow some courage to face that part of themselves. But you inspire them to do that, right? The Daughter of Wands here. There's this energy, it's very fresh, it's very new, but there's something very ancient about it as well. So it's very resonant to a lot of souls. It is very deep for a lot of people. And you're doing that in a very clear way. Wow, this is a really deep energy. All right, so we're going to get some of the Radiant Sun cards out. All right, what else, Source? How do people perceive pile number 1? How do people perceive pile number 1? Okay, oh, okay, those two. On the bottom, we have Jupiter in Leo with publicity. Yeah, you're a leader. And you have a lot of luck being out in the front lines. You shine really bright. People are reaching for the stars that you're reaching for, and although they're not getting quite where you're at, they're capable of using you as an example to better their own lives. So it's like, if you want to be successful, you have to mirror yourself after successful people, right? And that's what people are doing. They're seeing you and they're like, oh, I want to be like pile one. So what can I do that's like pile one? You give them the courage to heal parts of themselves that they otherwise would not have faced. And so they perceive you as this really abundant, lucky leader who's helping them overcome something. And you're reaching the world as well. You know, you have tiara here, or the Terra here, which refers to earth or world. Then you have the 4 cardinal directions as well. It's very far reaching. Your wisdom, your insight, your talents, your skills, right? It's very far reaching. It might be even further reaching than you recognize. And you're very much led by the angels and your guides. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if you work very heavily with either Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, and Archangel Zadkiel is coming in as well. Okay? I'm also hearing Archangel Raphael, Raquel, and Raphael, since I almost said it. But especially with the 6th house here, you might work very heavily with Archangel Raquel. Okay? And then we did have Jupiter in Gemini, which flew out here with Bluff. I do feel like people thought at one point that you were faking this, that this was all just a facade. But now they perceive the reality of the situation. They've recognized that you know yourself like you know the back of your hand. That you're not afraid to see the magic in reaching for the stars. So I do feel like people tried to call you out on your bluff here. But you returned in favor with a full house or with a royal flush, right? There was no bluff, but many might have thought there was. We have the 1st house, exactly. Individuality, self-image, and your approach to life. This is very profound here. This is how you see yourself. You're emerging as this new person who's very capable and very grounded and rooted in self. And so people are perceiving that now. There is no difference between you and how people are perceiving you, because you are the embodiment of what you say you're going to be. And in doing so, people are seeing that as finally someone who's incredibly honest and sincere about who they are. You're not trying to hide yourself. How do people perceive pile number 1? Thank you. We have Melhalel and Chum Hachadlu. With Melahel has spoken, I am the light in the darkness. I will guide you back to divine love. All lower energy must now bow before my power. Yeah, you're incredibly powerful, very sincere, very much driven by your heart chakra here. So I feel like people are feeling your sincerity first before they feel you. They're feeling the love that you have. They're feeling the compassion that you have. They're feeling that overflowing cup that you have done work on to come back to yourself. And that's the first thing that many people feel. How do people perceive pile number 1, source? All right. Yeah. Self-esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. You have some really unique gifts that you share with others, or really unique talents that you share with others. But you're also very confident in yourself. You have a lot of self-esteem. You're very grounded in yourself. You're not just saying it, like, you believe it. You really believe it at your core. And you believe you deserve to be confident in yourself. We have lunar eclipse flying out with the old. Exactly. You're someone that they perceive as being able to let go of old influences without a care, without a worry, like things that people most likely will hold on to. You're just over here like let it drop like flies. Look at that. We have Earth. Stay grounded. Didn't I say that? You're a very grounded individual. They perceive you as this very grounded, very capable, very down-to-earth person, very easygoing, easy to get along with. They perceive you as someone who's also funny. There's a sense of humor that's coming out here. You might have a very dry sense of humor for pile 1, and some of you might not, but I do feel like for many of you there's this dry sense of humor, but people actually appreciate it because it's like telling the truth while using your sense of humor, and it gives you an extra layer of depth. So we have Aries energy here, blazing new trails. Yeah. You're a pathfinder or way shower, right? Teaching others how to reach for their own stars. People appreciate that more than we might realize. All right, we're going to get one of these. How do people perceive pile number 1, source? How do people perceive pile number 1? Thank you. On the bottom, gossip. Interesting. Says, the light is awakens consideration for the feelings of others and honoring trust. And the shadows thrives on the power of passing on private or secret information, betraying confidences. You know a lot about everybody. I feel like everybody has told you stories about themselves. They've shared things with you in confidence, and you've honored that, right? You're honoring that trust. It's not your story to share, and so people perceive you as someone who's very honorable and trustworthy, even though some of these people that are perceiving you this way are the very people who may have gossiped about you and passed on information about you. They recognize that you're not going to tell people their secrets, but that maybe never stopped them from doing the same about you for what they knew. I don't feel like they knew very much, but for what they knew. Let's see what else is coming through here. All right, so we have versatility, the sun, and Gemini. A lot of Gemini energy. I tell you what, Gemini always comes out from this deck. It's crazy. I even had a reading last week that came out, and it was all Gemini across the board. It's so funny. So you might be a Gemini, have a sun in Gemini, Jupiter in Gemini, have a moon in Gemini, or your north node in Gemini or Sag. But you're very versatile. Nothing blocks you. And look, again, the star. There's like a star in every one of these cards. It's like they see you as hope. They perceive you as someone who is guiding the way, someone that they didn't know they needed until they met you. All right, and then we've got Saturn in Pisces with loss. Wow, this is really deep, right? Because look at this crow is picking these bones clean. So they perceive you as someone who's experienced a lot of loss. And maybe you've shared your stories with others, but you've experienced a lot of loss, a lot of grief, a lot of hardships. And you've learned so much from them. And they perceive you as someone who's willing to learn lessons from the things that most people just live in a state of victimization from. Right? So like grief does many, many things to us. The loss of life does many, many things to us. The loss of jobs does many things to us. The loss of money, the loss of vitality, the loss of health. And I feel like you've experienced all of these things, and many people, they're perceiving you as someone who is capable of shouldering great loss as a responsibility to use that as a way to heal others. Wow. So you could have Saturn in Pisces. You could also have the 10th house in Pisces, and the 11th house in Pisces is coming through. The 4th house, cultural and family roots, home, peace, and comfort. So they perceive you as someone who's very comfortable, right? Again, that very easygoing energy, very easy to talk to. You know people's stories. You know people's secrets. Why? Because you're so easy to talk to. They perceive you as someone who simply is the tie-in to people's personal lives. You don't have to go very far, practice very much in order to receive people's personal stories. So we have Ormakai and Dub. I don't know. We're going to go with it. The time has now come for divine insight. Accept the darkness within you along with the light and follow the path towards wholeness. And then the other card we had on the bottom is that all lower energy must bow before my power. I guide you back to divine love. I am the light in the darkness, right? So, and he has green fire in his hands. So again, maybe really working with Archangel Raphael coming out again. He is the symbol of the caduceus, the wand, and green flames. And so we have green flames on both of these cards. Very heavy energy coming in though, right? Like having dealt with loss, having dealt with the darkness that is all consuming. People perceive you, pile number one, as being able to be crushed by the darkness, and through being crushed by the darkness, you are thus changed by the darkness and become an even brighter light. Perseverance. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. You never give up. That's exactly what they perceive. They perceive you as someone who will go the distance. Scribe. Preserving knowledge and information, and the shadow is altering facts or plagiarizing others' works. You are someone who has a lot of knowledge. So I was saying like an old soul, a wise soul. Did I say that on your pile? I might have said that on your pile. I think I said that on your pile. But someone who's very wise, someone who's very knowledgeable, someone who's very intelligent. You have a lot of information. You have a lot to give to others. And I feel like people could know you for a lifetime and never even touch the surface of the amount of knowledge and wisdom that you know. And that's, you know, just from living lifetimes and gathering that information over lifetimes. So let's see what this card is. I'm going to read this out of the book for you. The Badger, determination. Look, with the little fireflies. Oh my gosh. So I just saw this video the other day that was talking about Evangeline from, oh my gosh, the frog, what is it? The Princess and the Frog. Disney movie, The Princess and the Frog, and the little firefly. He's in love with Evangeline, the star in the sky, right? And the lady that posted this video, she tied that back and was talking about how the Disney universe is all the same universe, because I know I've seen that before, and talking about how in The Lion King, and they're laying down looking up at the stars, and they're like, you ever wonder what those shining lights are up in the sky? And Timon's like, yeah, I think they're little fireflies. They got caught up in that big bluish black thing. And Timon and Pumbaa, he's like, I always thought they were big balls of gas burning billions of miles away. And he's all, Pumbaa, to you, everything's gas. But anyways, tied it back in. And the two stars, when that little firefly went home to be with Evangeline, it was the two stars. And those two stars were in The Lion King. They were also in Peter Pan, the second star on the left, and Straight On Until Morning, right? It was the same two stars. And it was Evangeline, and then I don't remember the firefly's name from The Princess and the Frog, but that's what they were talking about. And so these little lights, back to what I was saying, these little lights are, they're little fireflies. Like you see the little wings, they're little fireflies, okay? And then underneath the mushroom, you see the stars too, the reflection. Determination with perseverance here. So people perceive you as someone who was unwilling to give up. You would give every part of yourself to succeed, to have what it is that you're going after. And that's another reason why you're so inspiring to so many people, is because of that determination. So I'm going to read this from the book, The Badger. Badgers are also incredibly fierce, right? So we have the badger, known for its fierce determination and resilience, symbolizes tenacity, strength, and the will to fight for what is important. Badgers are relentless in their pursuits, unafraid to dig deep and face challenges head on, and that's everything that we've been talking about. This card suggests that you may need to harness your determination and stand firm in your convictions. The Badger reminds you that persistence and strength of will are key to overcoming obstacles. Stand firm in your determination and pursue your goals with relentless energy. Your strength of will can overcome any obstacle. And in reverse, it says your determination may be leading into inflexibility or conflict. Consider whether you're being too stubborn or aggressive in your pursuit of a goal. Questions are, where do I need to show more determination? Am I being too stubborn or inflexible? How can I balance determination with adaptability? So how people perceive you is someone who's never going to give up. Like, no matter what life throws at you, no matter how hard life gets, you're never going to give up. And that's another reason why they find you so inspiring as well. So this is a pretty profound message, pile number 1. This is what I see for you here. If you feel like this is your reading, leave the little black square down below. And this is why. I dig into the darkness that resides within my being, and I choose to infuse that with the light of my soul, knowing that it is this combination that allows me to have everlasting energy to pursue the goals that I desire in this realm. And if it resonated with you, it means so much to me for you to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you're interested in supporting the channel further, please check out the description box. It has everything you need, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member here on the channel. And with that, I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this incredible reading. And until next time, everyone, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of clear quartz, if you were drawn to this dice with the 12th house on it, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on how do people perceive you. First, I want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of the journey. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And if you are new here, this is a reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. We do things completely differently here on this channel, so keep that in mind as we move forward. With that, if the message happens to resonate with you along the way, it would really mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. So with that, we're going to go ahead and hop to it and find out how people perceive you, pile 2. But I did have a channeled message for you. It's kind of a weird energy, because it's like a flip-floppy energy. I'm getting that you're a very positive person. So they perceive you as someone who's very positive, very upbeat, very happy-go-lucky. But they also perceive you as someone who has a ferocious sting or bites back when you're provoked. Like, you're not just, oh, ha, 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 whatever, you can get away with whatever. No, like, if someone's trying to push your buttons or be cruel to you, you bite back. But you won't bite back multiple times. You will say what you need to say, and then you walk away. And you're very good at drawing back your energy to yourself. And you're not going to take crap from others. So that's how people perceive you. They don't want to get in the line of fire, because to get in the line of fire from you is to get bit really badly. That's what I was hearing. But other than that, like, you're this very positive, happy-go-lucky, bright, shining person, and that's how they perceive you. But let's see what comes out. So, Sorcerer, pile number 2, how do people perceive pile number 2? Would you like to say today? How do people perceive pile number 2, Source? What messages do you have for us? How do people perceive pile number 2? Interesting, the 12th house came back out. We've got Pluto, and we've got, yep, Aries energy. There it is. Very aggressive. Aggressive with a reason, though. It's not like you're just you're not an abrasive person, per se. You might be, but I feel like this is something that people realize. Like, you're a leader. You're willing to help. You're willing to be there for others. You're willing to help others transform their lives. And how they perceive you as someone who's very spiritual, very connected, has dealt with a lot of difficulties in life, has overcome a lot, is healing or has healed, is working on healing, and has transformed. You are not the same person that you once were. And so people perceive that. But they're also perceiving this energy that, what is it? Don't mess with me, because if you mess with me, I'm gonna end it. Yeah, I might not start the fight, but I'm sure as heck gonna be the one that ends it. And that's what this feels like here. So there's this very much like aggressive energy that's at play here. You're very capable of embodying your Mars energy. So you might have a very benevolent Mars placement or have Mars highly aspect in your chart. Okay, and so there's this information of secrecy that's coming through. Like, people perceive you as someone who's very private, very secret, doesn't put your life on blast. Like, you don't tell a lot of people about what's going on in present day. You might talk a lot about the past. You might talk a lot about what you've been through and what you've overcome. But present day things are kept under wraps. And so people perceive you as someone who's very secretive, very secluded in a way. To get in the in crowd for you, pile number 2, it takes a lot. And it takes someone who's willing to show up and show their truth. It's not even just about putting in the effort. This is someone that it takes a long time for you to trust a person. You're not someone who trusts people and then lets them break it. Like, you're basically in that energy of, look, if you want my trust, you're going to have to earn it first, because I don't trust anybody but myself. But if you earn my trust, you're going to have it for life unless you break it. And when you break it, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not going to play that game of, oh, let me forgive you and let's go back and forth and you do it again and let's give you. No, I've already done that too many times. I'm not going to do it again. And so people are perceiving that. They're definitely perceiving that you don't trust anyone, and they perceive you to be incredibly secretive and very closed off to sharing daily information with others. You just don't. It's like, it's none of their business. Why am I going to share it with others? But you're very much in this leadership position, and very unobtainable is the energy that's coming in here. Interesting. So let's see what comes out. I'm going to be using the Wild Unknown Tarot today. That is the deck that we're going to go with. All right, Source, how do people perceive pile number 2? How do people perceive pile number 2? Very optimistic. It's weird, right? That's a weird energy to be like, this is back and forth. Like, you're very optimistic until you have to be otherwise. It's just this energy, don't take my kindness for weakness. You're the embodiment of that. How do people perceive pile number 2? Always finding new inspiration. How do people perceive pile number 2, Source? Yeah, you're a world away. You're not of the world. You're in the world, but not of the world. You're different. And people are naturally curious because they want to know what makes you tick. How do people perceive pile number 2, Source? Okay, thank you. How do people perceive pile number 2? Wow, right off the bat, got the Pope. So this is interesting, right? It's like you have a key that others don't. So they perceive you as having some kind of information that doesn't come to the masses. Which, if you've done any type of research or healing or growth, of course that's not for the masses. It's not that anyone, like, everyone has access to it, but not a lot of people are going to put in the effort to find it, right? And that's what it feels like. You've done the work. You've put in the work. Like, you're benefiting from that. And so people perceive you as having this key. But also with the lightning here, it's like very quickly you'll make a noise, or you'll make a very loud, I heard, indentation in people's lives when necessary. You don't let people push you around, which is amazing, right? That's amazing. If you were ever in people-pleasing energy, you feel like this is something that you feel really good about too. But that's how people are perceiving you. Maybe they were able to push you around in your past, and now they're not able to. And it's showing that you've changed. You've received this key to lock the door to people's energy. How do people perceive pile number 2? Thank you, Source. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Fool. Look at this. I love this. You're someone who's very keen on taking new adventures. So people perceive you as very adventurous and outgoing and full of life and vitality. You know what you want. You're very decisive about the journey ahead. You're not trying to, like, if things get confusing, you sit back for a second and receive information to move forward, and people perceive you as having the wisdom to do that. They perceive you as level-headed, very action-oriented too, and a very powerful energy. When you walk in, all eyes are on you. So they perceive you as commanding attention, commanding the room. You could have very benevolent Aries placements in your chart as well, or have Aries highly aspect in your chart. So we have the 9 of Swords. Okay. And we have the Empress. Oh, I love this. Okay. You know when people are trying to pull one over on you. And so people are recognizing that you're aware of their red flags even before they're aware of them. So people coming in and they're not being true to who they are or authentic to who they are, they're wearing a mask or they're trying to pull one over on you, you're feeling that, and they perceive you as someone who's not going to take that, and people will pull away from you oftentimes before you have to pull away from them. But there have been circumstances where people have seen you pull away from others, so they understand that you're not afraid to do that. And so they perceive you as someone who's very emotionally mature and strong and capable of deciphering who is right and who is wrong for you. But equally so, they do see you as someone who's incredibly nurturing and loving and outgoing and compassionate and kind. And you protect what is yours. You'll do everything for what is yours and what's under your wings. They perceive you as someone who is very natural and protective. And this very, almost like motherhood, this strong feminine identity. But even if you're a man on here, you're just very much in touch with the feminine energy within. And it's a part of who you are, right? You naturally care for others. You naturally want others to succeed. You naturally want others to be the best version of themselves. And people perceive you as giving space for that, but also they perceive you as someone who's not going to tolerate less than that. They perceive you as someone who acts from the gut always. You're always listening to your intuition. You're always following that guidance, right? Which makes sense because with the Pope card here, we see the crow on it, getting those messages from Spirit, getting the messages from Source, getting the messages from your guides, right? And then moving forward without hesitation with them. They perceive you as their teacher or a counselor in ways, or that you help counsel many people, that you have a lot of education and knowledge. You could be studying medicine or psychology, or you are a marriage counselor, or you could be a mediator is coming in as well. They see you as the spiritual father. And this is interesting because with the Empress, it's like the mother, the earthly mother, and then the spiritual father. So they perceive you as someone who's very evenly balanced between their energies. Like you're not heavily reliant on one or the other. You allow them to intermingle and dance with one another as you move throughout your day and your life. And I feel like people are very much in awe by that because that's a very powerful place to be in, right? Again, I'm very soft when I need to be, but if you're going to try to hurt me, just know that you're going to get an earful, and it's not even going to be a bad earful. It's just going to be a straight, truthful earful, and then you withdraw your energy, and so they feel your absence. You're there, and then suddenly you're not, and people feel that. They feel that. People perceive you as using exactly what you have in this moment and making the best of it and actually succeeding with it. You don't have to have the fanciest equipment. You don't have to have the brand new textbooks. You don't have to have the brand new anything. You can use what you have and be successful with what you have. Or use your resources. You're very resourceful. And you've won plenty of fights against what people would have considered superior individuals. So say this is at work, right? Maybe you work in a medical office or something like that, and maybe you're not a manager, but you've won fights against your managers, your superiors, right? So people perceive you as being able to defend yourself regardless of the situation, whether that's work, life, love, or just circumstance. You're able to defend yourself firmly and even creatively. Alright, so let's see. How do people perceive pile number 2, source? How do people perceive pile number 2? No, I can't. We have Venus in Scorpio with secrets. And wasn't I saying that earlier? Like, you're very secretive. They perceive you as someone who's very secretive. Yeah, you do not share with people. And you might not even share this wisdom that you have with others. But it doesn't mean that you're going to, like, bogart it or anything like that. It just might mean that you know that there's a time and a place for sharing that. And so people feel like you've discovered a secret to success. They perceive that within you. Look, we have the Sun in Scorpio, heavy Scorpio placements here with endurance. You're able to endure the hardships, the hard things in life, right? So you could have South Node in Scorpio, North Node in Taurus. You could have North Node in Scorpio and South Node in Taurus. But I also feel like there's a lot. You could be a Scorpio Sun, a Scorpio Venus, a Scorpio 3rd house, a Scorpio Moon. You could have very benevolent Pluto placements in your planet as well, or in your charts as well. And then we have Mercury in Aquarius with originality. They perceive you as someone who's different, but also very driven by your intuition. But very different. Like, you don't fit into the norm, whatever the norm is. Does norm even exist? No, it doesn't. On the bottom, it's interesting. This came out while I was getting ready for your pile. This came out like 3 times. And as I was saying, you're a very happy-go-lucky person. This card kept coming out. And sources like kept telling me happy-go-lucky, happy-go-lucky every time it came out. We have the Moon in Sagittarius with optimism. I cannot tell you. This card came out at least 3 times while I was getting ready for your pile. Because I shuffle my decks before I get ready for the pile. And shuffling is something that's very mindless for me. And it helps me reconnect. And it helps you get in the zone. And so I get channeled messages when I'm shuffling because I'm not thinking about anything. It's like just mindless stuff, you know? And it's just my mind is empty when I'm shuffling. And so when I got this card, that's what source kept saying, like happy-go-lucky. So the Moon in Sagittarius, yeah, very adventurous, happy-go-lucky, free. They perceive you as a free person, free from societal construct, free from the constraints that others place on them. Which, who is it? Soltaire, I think, is the artist that said that. Is that, you know, man is free at exactly the moment he chooses to be. And I feel like that's how you feel as well. It's like you have to choose to be free for yourself. We've got Taurus coming out with trust, patience, and sensuality. Yeah, so you're a very trusting person. Like, excuse me. Let me go back. You're someone that doesn't trust people very easily, but when you do, like, that trust is solid. Also sensuality, like that very feminine energy coming in, right? So an Empress is ruled by Venus, Taurus, and Libra. And on the bottom we have the 4th house, cultural and family roots, home, peace, and comfort. So people perceive you as finding comfort at home. You're not out trying to impress people by being at the club or going out shopping all the time or being out and about, always eating at the new fanciest restaurants in town. Like, people perceive you as a bit of a homebody. Someone who just wants to stay at home and do the home thing. And, you know, hey, more power to you, right? Because honestly, it's a lot more comfortable to stay at home than it is to deal with everybody else's energies. And you just never know, right? So we have Air and Othala with strive for divinity in your words, thoughts, and deeds, and shape your life according to your desires. The magic required for this is entering your life now. Okay, this is a beautiful energy coming in. People perceive you as very careful with your words, right? You're very thoughtful. You take time to think about what it is that you're going to say. You don't do the whole word vomit thing that all of people in life are so used to doing now. When people are speaking, you listen to people. But also you command that attention when it's your turn to speak. Friendship came out. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason, so people perceive you as someone that's good for having in their life as a friend. But also recognize that to get to that point, it's not an easy journey. So when they receive your friendship, they recognize that it's worth it, right? It's not just somebody like, oh yeah, that's my friend. No, like they're like, oh no, pile 2 is my friend. Like they're my friend, and I'm really glad that they're my friend. I'm so grateful they're in my life. Adversity. Accept that challenges are the best way to learn. And we talked about that with the dice, that you have experienced a lot of loss, a lot of grief, a lot of hardships that you've had to overcome. You've had a lot of adversity in life, so you might have shared this adversity with people, or these are people who know you personally that have watched you go through adversity, and still you're ever growing, ever developing, and ever evolving energy. It leaves them very speechless, and so they perceive you as someone who grows through adversity. Nothing is too hard for you to experience. While maybe some of those that are around you have also been experiencing some of those hardships, sometimes they're not just ours to carry. Like if you've lost people, or if you have, experienced a hardship in the family or something like that, right? It affects everyone. And so this might be something that has been a joint situation that you've had to deal with, but you're dealing with it gracefully. And so they perceive you as someone who is never thwarted by hardships in life. With the full moon, all is being revealed. Yeah, you're very conscious. You're a very bright being, but you're also very in touch with your emotional well-being. And you're in touch with others' emotions as well. You're very empathic. When people perceive you as someone who is capable of putting the shoe on the other foot. How do people perceive? Wow, that is way too many, but I will take this one. You're the 10th house. Keep it professional. Most of the time when you deal with people, there's this level of professionality that goes with it. Keeping people at arm's length. Again, it takes a lot for you to trust people because you've been through so much. So if people don't have 100% of your trust, they don't have 100% of you being right in front of them. Even if you're present with them, you'll always be present with them, but you're still at arm's length from them. They're still at arm's length from you. And people definitely perceive this about you. You keep things very professional. And again, that energy of always thinking about what it is that you're going to say that's in highest alignment for you. You're very clever with your words. You're very clever with your thoughts and how you organize them. The cusp. We have break on through, babe. Yeah, this goes back to that confirmation that no matter how hard life has gotten, you've always found a way to break through. And so people perceive you as someone who's very enduring and very perseverant and has a ton of resolve. How do people perceive pile number 2? Thank you, Source. On the bottom, the networker. I love this. Enhances unity through sharing of information, engenders social awareness and empathy. In the shadows, conveys information only for personal gain, spreads fear and falsehood. That's what I was saying. Like, you share information, people also feel like there's a lot that you don't share. What really is coming through, and I feel like people are beginning to perceive, is that you just know so much that there's no way they could learn everything from you that you know. That would take a lifetime or multiple lifetimes. And so people are realizing just how much information you know, and they perceive you as this person who is you always have something to say. You always have some type of wisdom to pass on. You always have some type of lesson to bring to the situation, and it helps others as well. it might be like people who are perceiving this, they're like, why don't you just hold on to that for yourself? You ever met people who are like, well, you can't share that unless you're making money at it? You ever meet people like that? It's like, it's not about money. You know, knowledge is a very powerful thing, and knowledge is the most powerful thing in the world, but what good is knowledge if we never put it to use, right? You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you refuse to actually integrate and apply that knowledge, it means nothing. So why am I going to charge somebody for the knowledge that I have, knowing that the chances of them applying it are probably slim to none, but I'll still give it to them because that means that I'm doing the right thing for myself, right? But I do feel like there's someone here, or there was some people in your energy that were expecting you to charge people for your knowledge, and it's not that you won't ever not charge people for your knowledge, but I just feel like there are people here like, don't share anything unless you're getting paid for it. They have this very weird outlook. I don't know why this is coming in. This is a very unique message to come in for you here, so someone needs to hear it. But I do feel like there's someone in your energy, or there was someone in your energy that expected you to hold off and not share any part of yourself until you could knowingly get paid for it. And if anybody has ever created a business or a venture like that, like where they've created classes or something like that, you know that you have to be willing to give to get. It's not getting to give, right? That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. We have to give to get. And I feel like you just need a reminder pile too that you did the right thing. You are giving so that you can receive, right? And giving is receiving. But whoever this person was, they're very much engulfed and driven by societal beliefs that money is the most important thing. And I just feel like you need that reminder that you did the right thing. You are doing the right thing. Okay, so very specific message coming in, but it needs to be said regardless. We've got Artemis and Luisa Liu with the path ahead will be different. From now on, you will follow the path of transformation. Pay close attention to your quality of life. So again, transformation here. People are perceiving you have a change of heart. And in the best possible way. You're having a change of heart in this place of being able to present yourself more authentically and more full of compassion and love and kindness and gentleness, and not so, even if you're keeping people at arm's length, there's still a deep sincerity about you. Yeah. Right? You don't have to let people in order to be sincere, because you're naturally a sincere person. But you're also having a change of heart, and you're recognizing that it's okay for you to protect your heart. So you might have Sagittarius placements as well, especially because we had the moon in Sagittarius, and then she's holding this bow and arrow here. But this is also that reminder that even though you're this kind, gentle person, that you still deserve to protect yourself. And so people perceive that you're very protective of your heart, but with reason. Child wounded. Interesting. Awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children. Okay, so this is why I was getting this message of someone here was like being told by someone, you can't share anything until you're getting compensated for it. And you're a wounded child. You're serving other wounded children, right? Opens a learning path of forgiveness. And the shadow is blames all dysfunction on relationships I'm going to try that one more time. Blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, restricts or resists moving on through forgiveness. You're realizing that you're planting seeds and people are receiving those seeds, whether you're around to see them grow or not. They're receiving those seeds in a very beautiful way, and Source will always water those seeds in the miraculous way that Source does, because that's how Source operates. There are seed planters, and there are seed waterers, and there are seed nurturers, and we can be all three of them, of course, but most of the time in any one season we will be one of those people, and that's just the nature of things. And I feel like this is that reminder that you are helping people, whether you realize that or not. People perceive you as someone who's been through a lot, and they can draw inspiration from. but not just inspiration from, that they can come to and ask for wisdom, as you do have wisdom on many, many things. And even if you don't know their situation, you still gift them with something that helps them. It might not be exactly what they were looking for, but somehow, in some way, it's something that soothes the soul. So we're going to take a look at your card. I'm going to read this from the book. We've got the Wasp, anger. Okay, so this makes sense. What I was saying, like, you sting sometimes. So there are people who do perceive you as an angry person, but it's because they have received your wrath, okay? And they received your wrath with due just, okay? It wasn't that it was you just blaying off the walls and creating mayhem and hurt and pain in people's lives. That's not what this was. It was people were trying consciously or unconsciously to push your buttons, and they got bit because of it, okay? So that's pretty powerful to come in, but also this energy of kind and compassionate, right? And helping communities, right? Bees serve their community. Even wasps still serve a community, I believe. I don't think that I think they still have a nest that they serve and everything. If I'm thinking right, I'm thinking right. I don't know. But we're going to say here, it says, the wasp is known for its sting and its aggressive nature, symbolizes anger, aggression, and the power of boundaries. Wasps protect their territory fiercely, and their sting serves as a warning to others. Where we're saying protecting your heart, that's your territory, right? And that sting, when you have to bite back, that's a warning to others. I'm not going to be treated like this, and you're not going to get away with treating me like that. So that's how people perceive you, as someone who will set those very solid boundaries in a way where it will either command that attention and respect, or you don't. And either way, it doesn't matter to you. If I don't, I'm just going to leave. You're not going to have access to me that way. If you do, cool, we can move forward from this. This card suggests you may be dealing with anger or aggression, whether it's your own or someone else's. The Wasp reminds you that while anger can be a powerful motivator, it must be controlled and directed wisely. It says acknowledge your anger and use it to set clear boundaries. Allow it to motivate positive change rather than destructive actions. So the reverse says your anger may be consuming you, leading to bitterness or a desire for revenge. Consider whether it's time to let go and heal, rather than letting anger control your actions. Your questions are, what is the source of my anger? How can I channel my anger into positive change? Am I holding on to the anger that I need to release? Yeah, so people do perceive you as slightly vicious. And not in a bad way. It's not meant to be here to trigger you or anything like that. It's just you have had it. Like, I feel this. Just done. I'm done with people acting like they have a right to treat me like I am a doormat. I'm done dealing with people who feel like they can just push my buttons and act and treat me however they want to. I am finished. And this exhaustion and this sick and tired of being sick and tired of this situation has brought you to this place where it's like it's okay for you to speak up and say how you feel about things. And so people are definitely perceiving that side of you, because when you're vicious, right? And I use that loosely here, but that's what they're perceiving. This viciousness that's coming out. When you're vicious, it's very honest, it's very blunt, and it's very direct, and it's with purpose. It's not without purpose. You're not trying to bring up, well, ain't nobody talking about old shit here. Excuse me, I did not mean to curse. It just came out, but ain't nobody talking about it, right? We're talking about the stuff that's happening right now. What you said to me in this moment, we're addressing that right now. And so people perceive that, but they also perceive you as this very happy-go-lucky person. And so there's this very distinct difference in the personalities that you sometimes have, but it's not. It's a melding of both sides, of both the spiritual father and the earthly mother, right? Sometimes I'm in this nurturing, compassionate energy, but sometimes I'm in that constructive criticism, which is not what everybody likes, but we need that. We need that for growth, right? So this is what I see here for you. If you feel like this is your reading, leave the little bee emoji down below and say, sometimes my words may sting, but I always speak with truth honesty and clarity, because I have a right to defend my heart. And if it resonated, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It has everything you need, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member here on the channel. And with that, I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming through to give us this very powerful message. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this piece of blue agate, or if you were drawn to this dice with the first house on it, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on how do people perceive you. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And for anyone that is new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. We do things completely differently on this channel. Keep that in mind as we move forward, and if the message happens to resonate with you, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out, pile number 3, how do people perceive you? Source, how do people perceive pile number 3? What would you like to share with us today? How do people perceive pile number 3? Source, what would you like to say? How do people perceive pile number 3? Okay, so we've got the 3rd house, we've got Aquarius energy, and we've got Venus. Interesting. You may have very well resonated with the collective message that I did at the very beginning of the reading as well. They perceive you as someone who is very capable of communicating and having a very unique way of thinking. You do not see the world the way that everyone else does. And you communicate that very openly. You are not afraid to vocalize that the way the world is not how you see the world. It's not how you believe the world to be. Maybe there's a lot of illusions that people around you are believing in, and you're always willing to share that with them, like that's an illusion. And I feel like people have tried to argue with you on this, and you're like, look, you can try to convince me all that you want, but I see what you don't. And I feel like that leaves people feeling a little attacked in a way, because they want so badly to be right, and they can't convince you that they're right, no matter how hard they try. And I feel like there's a lot of people around you too, pile number 3, that are very passive aggressive towards you, and they may try to undermine and belittle you at every chance that they get, but you're very receptive to seeing their antics and also the illusions that they're playing at, and so you are unfazed and unbothered by that. People are perceiving that as well, that you are unbothered by the way that they see the world, or that the way that they feel like you're the nail that's sticking out that should be hammered. And I feel like there's a lot of people trying to hammer you down, but you are the stubborn nail that does not give in. And good for you, pile 3. Good for you. Don't give in. Don't give in. Let people keep hammering away, because one day the hammer is going to break. Simple. Right? Because you're just not meant to be nailed down like that at all. I feel like people perceive you as someone who is very friendly, very connected as well, connects with many people around the world, that there are many people who do see the world similar to you as well, and that you are doing your best to connect with those people. It might not be communities that you're connecting with, although it might be for some of you. You're connecting with communities that think this way or that feel this way as well. I feel like for many of you, this is gurus and masters and teachers that you're following, and they are inspiring you to continue on with your journey and to really build. But people perceive you as someone who is stubborn, resistant to change, which is funny because I feel like you are used to change and people are projecting that onto you, that they're the ones that are resistant to change because you're the change that's standing in front of them, and they want to be right and they want you to be wrong. For some reason, this is somehow going to validate their emotional ego, but it's not. At the end of the day, even if you were wrong, okay, which you're not, you have every right to believe what you believe, right? But even if you were wrong, it would never validate them enough that they would give it up, right? Like they would just move on to the next person and the next person and the next person. So I don't feel like any of this is really personal towards you, and maybe for some of you it is, but it doesn't feel like that. It just feels like, again, you're the nail that sticks out that they want to hammer in, right? Or what's that? I heard someone say a different way this week that said that if your head sticks above the grass, you're gonna get mowed. I heard it said that way too. So, but you know, they're hacking at you with the lawnmower, and you're the one that's doling the blades. Okay. And people perceive that of you too. They recognize that, right? They're perceiving that you are not going to be deterred, that you are not going to be shook. You are unfazed by what people say to you, and you are very, very clear about taking care of yourself, honoring yourself, respecting yourself, seeing your self-worth and your self-value. And all of those things are not dependent on what most people think they're dependent on, i.e. success, titles, wealth, money, things, material things, you know, like all those things that I feel like they're just secondary for you. People perceive that, but they do perceive that you're very clear with your communication. They perceive that you think very differently than most people do, and you are very friendly and kind and loving, but you're also a little bit detached. And as well, you probably should be. I feel like people get so attached to the way that they want the world to be, or they want to feel right about their world. I think the easiest way to say it is like thinking about, you know, religious people or people who don't agree with the way some people live their lives, you know, and they want to be right no matter what. And I'm not saying that religion is wrong, that's not what it is, but you have those very highly focused religious people that my way is the right way, and if you don't believe in my way, you're going to hell, and we should have you repent because you need to come to your senses and this, that. But if you don't believe what they believe, like there's no amount of trying to make me feel guilty or trying to scare me and bring fear into my life that is going to make me believe that, because all that's going to do is make me feel like you're just being desperate to prove something that you yourself are questioning. That's what I feel like. That's really an interesting energy coming through here. I feel like people are desperate to make you see things a certain way, but they perceive that you're incapable of seeing them that way, or you're so stubborn that you can't see it that way. All right, let's get some cards on it. Wow. Like, I didn't know what pile 3 was going to be, but here we go. Yeah, but overall, people do perceive you as a very outgoing, loving person. So it could be the same people trying to suppress you that also recognize that you are very loving, that you are very giving and caring. How do people perceive pile number 3 source? Yeah, wealth. Okay, so they perceive you as seeing wealth as something other than what they see it as. For you, I feel like it's more like a tool. It's not the all, have all, end all, be all. It's a tool. And it will come when it comes, and it will leave when it leaves. But if all we're doing is worrying about it, that's deterring us from our journey. We have to trust that things are going to work out for us. This could be family coming in as well. How do people perceive pile number 3 source? They feel like you're on the outside looking in, or they're on the outside looking into your world. How do people perceive pile number 3? Wheel of Fortune. To start the reading, Wheel of Fortune. See, there's some people here who see the truth in what it is that you're talking about. But they're perceiving you as not being clearly capable of communicating it, or they perceive you as someone that is capable of communicating it but not communicating it with them. I keep hearing, oh, the twisted web we weave. That's what I keep hearing. Source, how do people perceive pile number 3? The Lovers and the 7 of Swords. I just heard the Lone Wolf. So they perceive you as the Lone Wolf, but with the Lovers card, interesting, right? And I know I've said this before about this card, but geese, if ever there is a goose that's injured and has to stay behind, geese will never leave that goose by itself, right? There will always be a couple from the flock that stay back with that goose so that it's never alone. Like, they take their community, their role in community, very seriously. And so there's either one person here that is like your friend, your ride or die, your person that you lean on when times are weary and feeling, I don't remember, but like a bridge over troubled water. Yeah, so it's interesting because it's like you have a lot of troubled waters in your life. And people perceive you as the bridge over those waters, but there's someone here that is helping you with that. So there's some people who perceive that as your connection with the divine, and there are other people here who perceive that as being a person. That there's someone that helps you get to where you're going. And that gives you this perseverance over everything, and ability to overcome difficult situations, and ability to overcome difficult foes with the 7 of Swords here, but also with the Fox energy, that you were witty and cunning in a way that they could only imagine. What's on the bottom here? The 7 of Coins. You're original. You're unorthodox. You do things very differently. Yeah, there again, that energy is coming through very strongly here, where it's like you do things so differently than they do, and they don't understand how you're capable of building something of success, or you're in the process of building success. Like, how are you being so well known, or how are you being so well seen, or how are you able to purchase the things that you purchase, or how are you able to get the home that you got? Like, all of these things don't make sense to them because you're not doing it the way that they thought you had to. Work at a job for 40 years, retire from said job, build up a retirement, all these things. Like, you're doing it differently. Maybe you're investing your money, right? But they perceive you as building something of substance with your mind and not with your actions. And that baffles so many people. They don't understand how you're able to do it, right? Like, the wheel is always turning in your favor, but they are not seeing the times when you're falling off of the wheel, right? We all have our up season, but we all equally have our down season, and then we all have the season where we're just holding on for the sheer sake of holding on, because there's nothing else we can do. We're on the ride, right? Sometimes the monkey's up, sometimes the monkey's down, but sometimes the monkey's on the side. And we never know, right? That's just a season that we're in. And so I feel like they're saying here, like, they're perceiving as the wheel always turning in your fortune, like, in your favor. You're always lucky. Everything works out for you. But it works out for you because of your mindset. It works out for you because you have faith and you trust in something greater than yourself. You know, the Lovers is an interesting card. It can talk about having a relationship. It can talk about love entering your life. And mostly, if we really look at the depth of it, the Lovers card, it also connects with that idea of ask and it shall be received, knock and the door shall be opened. That's what the Lovers card actually connects with. And when you look at the Hermetic side of the cards itself for the Tarot Marseille, and it's this very unique energy where you asked for what you wanted. Even if you didn't know exactly what you wanted, like you said, this is what I think I want, and I want to go towards this because I really feel like this is where I'm meant to go. And so people perceive that as you being able to knock on doors of opportunity, and they seemingly open up flawlessly and effortlessly for you. But it might not feel that way for you. 777. We have the 7 of Wands, the 7 of Coins, and the 7 of Swords. Just because I got, yeah, the Magician. Okay, interesting. Yeah, perseverance. Overcoming. Ability to light your own flame here. Right? Not blending in. You don't blend in with everyone else. It's just not going to happen. So they perceive you as being able to manipulate the world to your wills, to your whims. And is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? You know, I guess it's going to depend on the person who's perceiving it, because I'm getting a lot of mixed energy here. Like, some people are, whoa, enthralled with that. That's so cool that you can do that. And other people are like, oh, of course, pile 3, like, they can do whatever they want. La, 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 la. You know, like, some people are just gonna, so you're like, some people are gonna be haters because they want to be haters, and let them be haters. You know, like, that doesn't have to affect you, because it has nothing to do with you. They're seeing what they want to see, and they're gonna try and fill in the story the way they want to try and fill in the story, and let them. That's their prerogative, right? That has no truth with who you are. That's why these readings, they're fun, but we should never let them deter the way that we, or determine the way that we show up, right? But yeah, with the Magician here, they feel like they're perceiving you as having everything necessary for success, as though it was some divine gift. Not seeing it as hard work, overcoming obstacles, getting involved with something that really lit your passion, being able to build on something that didn't fit in with everyone else, that went against the grain, right? Having to use your mind to get you there. Positive thoughts. Thoughts are things. Manifestation. Trusting in the process. Trusting that you had a team that was helping you get there spiritually and maybe even physically. But understanding that the Wheel of Fortune, there's going to be an up season, but there's also an off season. And I feel like you've had plenty of off seasons, and now it's your up season, and you're celebrating, and you should be celebrating. But again, coming back to that, oh, the web we weave. You know, when you think about spiders in for symbology and spiders, it's talking about creativity. There's also, and I wish I could remember, it's been so long since I've read the story, and albeit I can't even find it again because I have looked for it and looked for it and looked for it, and I wish I could tell you where I read it at, but it's stuck with me for forever. There was the goddess that was a spider, and she weaved creation into existence. It wasn't just the world. This had to do with creation, the ideas, the creation of ideas into existence. And she's connected with a certain goddess, and I can't even tell you, like, is it Roman? Is it Greek? Is it, you know, I can't tell you where the goddess came from. It's literally been that long since I've read this story, but it's so powerful because it always reminded me of creation, like what we're creating, how we're creating our world, and also the connections that we create. Because thinking about how when we're inviting people into our lives, they're going to impact the web that we've made, right? Some people are going to vibrate at dissonance with it, which destroys the web, which destroys the progress we've made, right? And it's not that we ever go back to beginning over, but sometimes we do have to tear down what we had so we can let go of that nasty energy and begin again from that experience. And so I feel like that's exactly what's happening here. And some people are perceiving you having started over again from experience, while others are perceiving you as having had instant overnight luck, success, fame, fortune, have you, whatever. Promotion, it came easily to you, you didn't have to work for it and whatever, but they're not seeing the whole story. But that's what I'm saying, there's like a split energy here where people are seeing the work that you put in, and other people are just assuming that life is easy for you and you don't have to. And what's irritating me here, because I'm not going to lie, there's an irritation here, is that there are some people here who have actually physically witnessed you doing the work, who are refusing to believe that your success is from your work, your showing up, your discipline, your consistency and persistence. They're refusing to let their eyes show them the truth, Rather, they're going based on how they're feeling, which is jealousy and anger and madness about the fact that you're somewhere where they believe they deserve to be. But again, people are going to put in the stories that they want to put in. And I'm not telling you this to make you mad. I'm just telling you this because there's this energy that's lingering right now. That someone or a group of people who have actually seen you show up. Who've seen you, like if it's at work, right? These are coworkers who've seen you never miss a day. They've seen you show up religiously early. They've seen you leave late. They have seen you put in the work with the managers. If this is in life, they've seen you show up every day. And this is an energy where it's like, I refuse to look and see that pile 3 actually put in the work, because it's easier for me to believe that they're getting handed everything on a silver platter. This is an interesting energy. It's a very interesting energy coming in. This is someone who's very bitter about life. They're just bitter about the cards they were dealt. And they refuse to believe that other people have cards as difficult as they do. And I guarantee you, if they were to ever see someone that was worse off than them, they would still somehow twist it like they were the worst one off. That's the type of energy this is. And I don't know why Source is wanting me to talk about this, but it is coming in really strongly here. So I just feel like this might be a confirmation for some of you, pile 3, that this is someone that it is okay for you to cut ties with this person. Because this is someone who's going to try to manipulate you. This is someone who's going to try and play the guilt card, the victim card. They're going to try and do everything that they can so that they feel better about not wanting to do the work. Let them wallow in their pity. That's them. That's their pity party, and you do not want to accept that invitation. I did not RSVP to that party, nor am I going to, so we just tore up that invitation, threw it in the trash, and we took that trash out and burned it right away, because we didn't even want anything to do with that. We send all that energy back, right? Send all that energy back. I'm saying that right now over you, pile 3. Source, whatever this energy is, may it be sent back to sender, and if it's not returned to sender, may you please take it and transmute it into something positive for the journey of light and love for us to traverse forward on, okay? As these words are spoken over pile number 3, so shall they be. Amen, aho, ase. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, I felt that release from my shoulders. Whoa, that was a heavy energy. Pile 3. All right. But overall, people, there's like this split energy though. Like people perceive you as a hard worker, but people also perceive you as being just lucky and lucky in life. Like, you know, luck be a lady tonight. Like as if you could go and win the lotto, or like as if you just showed up to some, you know, casino you would always win. That's just so silly that some people think that way. So we have Venus in Cancer flipped over here with birth. Yeah, so you're birthing a new existence here. Look, she has the baby in her belly, but there's also the baby here in the rocks, right? And this feels very symbolic. Like Mother Earth is helping you nurture what it is that you're bringing into the world. You're nurturing this. There's this, the whole of the universe, the whole of the spiritual realm is on your side, helping you create whatever it is that you're creating right now. And it's coming in with a lot of nurturing, a lot of love, and a lot of giving beauty. And there is difficulties to it, right? When you think of birth in general, to give birth to a baby is not easy at all. Right? It is a very painful process that a lot of people don't want to talk about. And if you're pregnant on here, please, I'm not trying to scare you or anything. I just feel this is something like as mothers that we should talk to other potential mothers about, because it's something that people are always like, they always skip over the birth process. Right? Like we also talk about how pregnancy can be difficulty, but it's this beautiful thing. You have this being growing inside of you. And then we go right to this baby is on the earth, and we skip that very crucial part of the process that is life-changing for a woman, right? And if you're a man on here, hang with me, right? Hang with me. There's a premise to this. But it's a painful process, and the body goes through this massive shift. I mean, you're pushing this being out, or you're getting cut this being out. So your body literally changes in a matter of hours to minutes to seconds, right? And it's not a pleasant process, but the process up to that is miraculous. And the process after that is the memories that we get to make with this beautiful human that we brought into the world. And for men, spiritually, this birth is the same thing. Even if you're a man or woman, whatever you identify with, this spiritual birth is the same thing. And so I feel like Source is pointing out here with this birth card is that you've gone through the dark night of the soul, or you've gone through that period of depression, or that spiritual, I'm hearing juxtapose. I don't know why that word's coming in, but we're just going to go with it, right? Or that spiritual misalignment and having to realign. It was a very painful process, albeit it might not have been physical and it might have been physical. But some people are perceiving that. They're seeing that it wasn't an easy process for you. And they're also seeing the nurturing that you're receiving from the divine. So on the bottom, we have Enterprise. Yeah, with Jupiter and Aries. Yeah. Your parts of fortune might be in Jupiter, or it might be in Sagittarius or Aries. But this energy right here, it's just showing like, again, feeling like you have so much luck that you're able to build an enterprise. Like you're building an empire. And it's easy for you, and people perceive that. They perceive that all good things come to you easily and effortlessly. And while you might have very benefic Jupiter placements, also people don't necessarily see the struggles that you go through, right? Especially like, imagine like on YouTube, thinking about this on YouTube, right? You see people post these videos and you see them going viral and you're thinking, oh, that person had it so easy. They went viral and this, that, and the other. But honestly, the other day I watched, if you have Netflix, you could check out this video so you can watch it. It's the Trainwreck series. I had to watch it, but this girl from the Netherlands, she posted for her 16th birthday in 2012 and she made it public and she didn't realize it. She's like, I've invited like 70 people. Who knows 70 people? I don't, but okay. You know, she invited 70 people to her 16th birthday. No big deal. It was public. And then all of a sudden people started passing it around everywhere. And before she knew it, there were thousands of people that were invited. She took it down, deleted it. Someone made a copy of it. And the person that made a copy of it, it was getting hundreds of, or tens of thousands of people on it. And she called this guy and she told him, this is like ruining my life. This is a really bad situation. Like, this is a really small town that we live in. This is not good. And then he took it down, and there was another group of people that copied the page and posted it. And by the end of it, 350,000 invites were sent out, and she went viral overnight. And the second guy who took it down, he's like, why would she be mad at me? I made her a viral sensation, right? But he wasn't open to listening to the fact that it was ruining her life. It was creating a lot of chaos and disharmony in her life. She didn't want that, right? So it was very uncomfortable. But to the outside person thinking, oh, well, you have all this popularity coming into your life. Why wouldn't you want that? It was so bad that even on the day of the event, because it still went down, the mayor didn't do anything about it. Long story short, it still went down. All these people showed up. She left. She didn't hang out. She's like, I'm not hanging out. And they thought that there was 2 women that died. They thought, and she's like, just the fact that I posted this invite and suddenly it got so out of hand and ruined the neighborhood and created there was a riot. It went from bad to worse to destructive within a matter of hours, right? And so it's like people look at it that way. Like everybody on the outside was like, oh, look at her. She's being so popular. She's being so popular. She's getting so popular. Like, oh my gosh, right? And you're not thinking about the behind the scenes. And that's the same thing like with anybody that has social media. It's like you don't think about behind the scenes. In fact, the interaction that you and I have is mostly on this video within the comments and the things that I post. That's the interactions that we have. So the fact that I have a life outside of these videos is odd. It's odd to think about, right? You wouldn't naturally just think about it because the interactions that you have are so brief, and that's what they are. And so I feel like that's what people are perceiving with you now, is this energy where some are only seeing a snippet of your life and they're seeing, oh, it's luck. It's all luck for pile number 3. They're getting everything easy. this, that, and the other. And there are other people who are starting to realize that, wait a second, outside of all this stuff that pile number 3 is doing, they also have a life outside of all this. They have a life outside of work. They have a life outside of their business. They have a life outside of home. There's other things that could potentially be going on with pile 3. And that's what I'm saying. It's like the split energy coming in here. Yeah, we have the 8th house here. Look at this. Transformation, karma, facing fears and leaving legacies. So again, leaving this, where was it? The Enterprise, leaving an empire. Very much building an empire here. People are perceiving that. They're perceiving this transformation where you're creating something massive. Okay? Look at that. And then we have underneath that, we have Mars and Capricorn with authority. So they do see you as a leader. Okay? Yeah, they do see you as a leader. So let's see what else comes out here. Whoa. Okay, that was crazy. This bounced out. Like, it didn't jump out. It bounced out. We have Lady Nada and Prudence. True life happens from one moment to the next. You'll find the love you long for in the here and the now. So people are loving the fact that you're more present as well. And so they're perceiving you as being very present, very forward and present in this moment. And that's very strong energy and very loving. Yeah, and abundant. Abundant keeps coming in. Abundance, variety, and happiness are making their way into your life. The time of harvest has arrived. Yeah, so you're living from your heart space for sure. And people perceive you as incredibly abundant. You might feel like, I'm not that abundant right now. Like, I don't have a lot of abundance. But you're not seeing all the things that you're abundant in. Spiritually, emotionally, mentally, just life and life in general, experience, expertise, you have a lot more abundance than you're aware of right now. On the bottom, honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. So people do perceive you as being honest, Abe. They perceive you as being very, very honest, incredibly honest. I don't know why Honest Abe was coming out, but it did, so we were just going to fly with it. All right, so source, what do people perceive? Venus, you're attractive. Attracting abundance. Like, I can't make this stuff up. You're attracting abundance. You are seen and perceived as someone who's incredibly abundant. Like, you have a lot more than what people realize, or you have a lot more than what you're saying you have. And maybe you feel like you don't, but that's how people are perceiving you right now. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of energy that's happening, but a lot of Venusian energy coming through here. You're very attractive, very sensual, very loving, very self-care. You're all about self-care. All of these things bring a lot of abundance to you that you might not understand or yet perceive. We have Palace here with fight the good fight. Very much centered and grounded in your wisdom and truth. Yeah, very honest. Honest again with Palace. I just feel like that's what this is leaning towards, is how honest you are. Alright, so source, what do people... Hermit. So we have the Hermit energy with seek solitude to focus intently on inner life, serves personal creativity, and the shadow is withdrawals from society out of fear and negative judgments of others, refusing to help those in need. So I do feel like people might call you antisocial, or they might perceive you as being antisocial until they get to know you. Then when they get to know you, they realize, like, oh no, like pile 3 is just really focused on their own internal growth. Detective. Great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. Yeah, we can't get beyond this right now. That's the thing. Like, people do perceive you as very honest, very truthful, and very direct. The shadow is voyeurism and falsifying information. So I feel like that's something that does trigger a lot of people. So when people are in that place of believing that everything's easy for you, the reason they're in that energy is because you've triggered them just by being honest, and it's an honest place that they can't meet you at, right? They'd rather live their lie than to step into the light, and let them. 777 is a powerful number that might be following you right now as well. So we have Mercury and Virgo with caution. Yeah, I feel like this goes with this Hermit energy too. Like, you're very cautious about the people that you hang out with, and people do perceive that too. They realize that to hang out with you is it's not just inviting you out to dinner. It's not just inviting you out to lunch. Like there's a process. There might even be a lot of rigmarole to go through in order to hang out with you, pile number 3. And then we have Mercury and Aries. So you might have some benevolent Mercury placements, but we have Mercury and Venus, which is very masculine and feminine balancing energies here. But restlessness. So some people perceive you as always on the go. Okay, and that's why I'm saying that split energy. So there's some here that perceive you as always going, always working hard, always striving to be the better version of yourself, the more aligned version of yourself, and other people just think everything comes easily and effortlessly to you and you don't have to do anything. Conjunction. A union emerging and coming together. So to the Lovers card here, maybe you are destined for a soulmate relationship, okay? Or and I can say soulmate, I guess, but maybe a labeled relationship. But I don't want to focus too much on that because I feel like this is more or less like seeing just how connected to the divine you are as well. So they're perceiving that connection to the divine through various modalities and through various avenues that you're taking and using. But also I feel like there's someone here who wants to connect with you in that way, okay? Service. I feel good when I help others. Yeah. So people do perceive you as someone who's willing to help, to give, to be supportive of others. Stellium. Stop obsessing. Wow. So people see you as very passionate or overly obsessed with one thing. Okay? That could be, again, when we were going back to the way that you view the world. Like, you're obsessed with it being this way, and other people get really obsessed with trying to convince you that it's their way, and so they see that as obsessing. But I feel like you're very passionate about it, and you're very clear about what it is that works for you. So we're going to look at your card. I'm going to read this from the book. We have the Ibex with Resilience. Look at this card. It's so beautiful. I love this deck. It's such a cute deck. Just adorable. And I love that it's so diverse, too. I love diverse decks. Like, diverse in all ways, too. Everybody's represented. Like, right here is me represented, being all fluffy and beautiful. Because, yes, I'm a fluffy woman. Alright, so we have... And I feel like that's the other thing, too. I feel like you like diversity. For me to mention that right now, I feel like you like diversity. You like there to be many different things around you, many different beliefs around you, many different people around you, because that helps you to cement your own beliefs, and that kind of rattles people's own belief. But people do perceive that you're very diverse. Okay, so we have the Ibex, a mountain-dwelling goat known for its agility and strength, symbolizes resilience, determination, and the ability to navigate difficult terrain. Ibexes are masters of climbing steep, rocky cliffs, representing the power of perseverance and the will to overcome obstacles. And we've talked about that, right? I love that confirmation. This card suggests that you may need to tap into your resilience to navigate a challenging situation. The Ibex reminds you that no mountain is too high to climb without determination and strength. So direct is to tap into your resilience and keep climbing. No matter how steep the path, your determination will see you through. The reverse, it says your resilience may be turning into stubbornness or an unwillingness to seek help. Consider whether you're trying to climb a mountain alone when support is available. Questions are, how can I strengthen my resilience? Am I being too stubborn or refusing help? Which is the best way to navigate this challenge? So again, they do perceive you as someone stubborn, but you're stubborn with a purpose. Like it's because I feel like maybe people have tried to convince you to believe certain ways or to act certain ways, and maybe when you were younger you did, and you're just tired of it. It's like, I'm sick and tired of being what everybody wants me to be, and now I'm gonna be who I am. So there's this kind of like back and forth flip-floppy energy with your reading, but that's what I am seeing here for you, pile number 3. If you felt like this was your reading, is there a little goat emoji? Because that would be perfect. Leave the little goat emoji down below and say, my strength and my resilience takes me to heights unfathomable to other people, but allows me to manifest my dreams and desires here in the now. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, please check out the description box. It has everything you need, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member here on the channel. Really quickly, I do just want to say, if you spent all 3 readings, 1, 2, and 3 with me, leave a purple heart down below. That's part of my Purple Heart Club, or you can say I made it. That just shows me that you spent the whole reading with me, which I truly do appreciate your time, energy. And if you didn't, and you spent just pile 3 with me, I really do appreciate you being here. So with that being said, I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this very deep reading. And until next time, pile number 3, stay human. Bye.